It's almost the weekend, but not quite yet. Got to have another edition of the Speaking for Him podcast before we wrap up this week. I'm Adam McNutt alongside the host of the program, Mr. Andrew Gomison.
Hello, Adam. And before we jump into our podcast for the day, I just want to do a little bit by way of housekeeping notes. And first of all, to say that my podcast is now available on Zune. If you have a Windows phone, it will be available on the Windows Marketplace. It's available on iTunes and a couple of other places. So make sure that you are subscribing to the podcast if you have not already. And if you have and you like what you hear, please give us a 5-star review. This will allow us to continue podcasting and reach even more people. And I'm really excited about what God is doing. We are getting ever closer to recording our 1-year show.
1 year.
We're very close, and we're very excited for those who've been with us throughout that time. And we'll have more details on some changes that are coming for year 2 that should be exciting and will hopefully even add to your Speaking for Him experience. But more on that later. Right now, let's dive into today's podcast. Today I have the privilege of welcoming my friend Erica Lynn into the studio. Erica is a former coworker of mine, and I'm good friends with her family, and she just has something very special going on that we're going to address in this podcast. And I hope that you will pay attention and that as the Lord leads, you will be a support to her, and I know you will understand more as we go along. But welcome to the show, Erica.
Thank you, Andrew. I'm so excited to be here.
Well, we'll start with some easy ones. Actually, I don't think any of these are hard, but we'll get started here. Tell us a little bit about your growing up years, Erica.
Nothing too crazy. Just grew up in Grand Rapids, Michigan with my mom, my dad, and my brother. Just a Christian home, cool family, just nothing crazy.
All right. Well, how did you come to know Jesus personally?
Well, growing up in a Christian home, I always was taught about Jesus, and Yes, I believe what my parents told me, but it took me a while to actually understand it. And it wasn't until I was about 13 years old that I really saw God starting to work in my life and understanding how He worked within my life and what He needed or what He wanted me to do. And so that relationship has been developing since then.
Yeah, and it is a development, it is a journey, and that's part of what Speaking for Him celebrates, that we're not there, but we are striving to get there.
Right.
And so I'm grateful that you are here. What we're actually going to be talking about for the bulk of our time is a little bit about your schooling, because it's taking you in a very interesting direction. Mm-hmm. First of all, what are you studying in school?
That's a bit of a complicated answer. I am majoring in theology and Bible, as well as English professional studies. And I also have a minor in communications, which, although I may be crazy, I'm considering changing that into a major as well.
Wow, so I'm sure you have plenty of time to just sit back and relax, right?
Oh, so much free time.
Oh, I'm sure.
So that would be a triple major.
Yeah,
wow.
Possibly. I haven't made the final decision yet.
For those who know math or are trying to do math, there it is. All right. And what school are you attending?
Right now I'm going to Kuiper College. It's a small Christian school in Grand Rapids.
All right. And the reason that we're here is because Erica is planning a trip to spend at least a semester abroad at Oxford. And this is Oxford in England, correct?
Yes,
Wow.
Oxford,
So
England.
this is the Oxford.
Yes, the Oxford. It's kind of
All right.
frightening.
Can you explain a little bit about why you're going or what particularly?
Well, I've always wanted to be able to study abroad, and when looking into my options, Oxford is a very strict program. There's a lot of scholarly... There's a lot of... It's a very scholarship-based program, and something that I've always been drawn to is learning. And when I was a kid, I always wanted to know all the facts when I was in Sunday school, and all my other friends thought I was crazy. But when I'm learning new things and when I'm reading stories and things like that, I feel like I'm drawn closer to God. And so I felt like this was a good match for me, and there was a lot of prayer that went into it and talking to good mentors and friends and family. So that's kind of a little bit of the reason why I'm going.
All right. Well, how long will you be there?
About 4 months, a little bit less.
Okay, so, all right. Adam, do you have any questions?
Yeah, I'm curious. So 4 months in Oxford, what was it about that school that really jumped out to you? Was it something maybe you just kind of felt like God calling you to, or was it like, oh man, this looks just so cool. I could get a British accent and just sound amazing. Like, what was the motivation for you to go there?
Well, what's funny is the program is amazing. It's intimidating, but it's amazing. And I looked into the application process, and I almost didn't apply because it's so hard to get into that program. But through prayer and just talking to a lot of friends and family, it said just apply because you're going to regret it if you don't even know what happens. And I applied and I got in, and it was the weirdest thing that happened. And it just, it was really hard. And I feel like it's pulling me out of my comfort zone. And that's something that God has really been showing me the last year or two, is just stepping beyond those bounds that I like to set for myself and allowing Him to take the lead.
Very good.
Now, you are raising money for this trip.
Yes.
Because it's not cheap to go overseas, and certainly not cheap to stay there for 4 months.
Right.
So if we're interested in donating and helping you in this process, how can we be involved?
Well, if you go to facebook.com/help send Erica to Oxford, it's that easy.
All right.
There's just a
specific.
little page on there, and it's got some information about how you can contact me in other ways. So.
All right, and we will include that information in the show notes on the blog, so make sure that you're paying attention to the blog. And if you want to go directly to the blog, you can go to speakingforhim.blogspot.com. But again, the show and the link to help her will be available on that blog, and so make sure that you check that out after the show or even while you're listening, since if you're at your computer, you should be able to pull that up. And that would be great on her behalf. So do you have an ultimate career goal, Erica?
Ultimately, I would love to be able to sit down and write and have that be my entire career. I don't know if that's ever going to be able to happen, but right now I'm looking into either editing or publishing, writing curriculum possibly. There's so many different things, and it's one of those things where I'm still trying to understand where God is leading me. And that was something that I really struggled with when I first started school, was I have to know what I'm going to do right now. And God said, no, you're going to wait and you're going to be patient. And that's something that I'm learning. And so I don't have an idea really of what actually is going to happen. I have a few ideas, but still kind of waiting on His plan and His will to be revealed.
Now, as you've gone through this process, specifically with college, do you have a favorite Bible verse that comes to your mind when you need encouragement?
Definitely. One of my favorite verses is Job 42:5, and the verses leading up to it is when Job replies to God and is finally realizing how just magnificent God is and how much greater and bigger He is than we are. And Job finally says, before my ears had heard of you, but now my eyes have seen. And it's just this idea of just understanding that we can understand God, and this eye-opening experience, which is something that I went through recently and was something that I needed to realize in order to I don't know how to explain it, in order to respect that I don't know all the answers and God does. And that's something that's very just a key in just me growing with Him and on my way to Oxford and things like this, because I don't know what's going to happen, but God does. And that's something that Job realizes at the end of that book.
All right. Well, one of the reasons that we're here today is because you post a vlog on YouTube, and a mutual friend of ours shared it, and I saw it, and I heard about your endeavor to get to Oxford, and it struck a chord with me, so I invited you to be here. Could you tell us just a little bit about your blog and your vlog and how you started doing all that?
Yeah, the blog actually came before the vlog. I've had it for about 6 months now. Being a writer, I thought it would be an interesting way to just kind of practice writing. I wasn't expecting anyone to read it, and not many people do, but it's still a really interesting way for me to practice writing, as well as it's actually turned into an amazing tool for me to just kind of understand where God is calling me and just exploring those smaller pieces of just my life and where God is leading me. And that's actually the name of it, is Finding the Pieces. Instead of trying to focus on the big things and the key parts, just enjoying the journey and figuring out those little parts along the way and just enjoying God revealing those to you.
All right. Well, thank you for sharing that. And I'm sure that I can find links to the blog and the vlog as well to post on the blog so that you can keep appraised of what is going on with Erica. I'm sure she'll, Lord willing, have some very interesting vlogs from Oxford. At least that's kind of what I'm hoping.
Yeah.
If I have time.
I've never been overseas, unless you count Canada. So I'm really interested to see how things are from another country's perspective. So, but maybe eventually when I hit the big time, I'll be podcasting from Europe.
Yeah.
You know?
That would be
Yes.
awesome.
Say hi to Erica, help her with her studies while we're doing the show. That'd be good.
But anyway, it's so great to have you here. Thanks for stopping by. And I hope that people will respond and support Erica. Erica is a really neat young lady. I've watched her grow up, basically, because I worked with her mom first, and then I worked with her for a while, and I've just been really impressed. So I would encourage you to go to the link and support Erica as she goes for this once-in-a-lifetime opportunity at Oxford. And, of course, we've heard that her ultimate goal is to please God in all she does, and that's what we believe in and stand for here at Speaking for Him. Adam, did you have one more thing to say?
Yeah, I was wondering if you could just quick repeat that place that people could go to online on Facebook to donate and help you out for your cause to Oxford.
It's facebook.com/help send Erica to Oxford.
All right. Easy to remember.
It doesn't get much more straightforward
Yeah.
than that. But just in case, we will have the link on the blog. So stay tuned for that. And thanks again, Erica. For those of you out there listening, I thank you again for joining us. And I just want to say at this time, have a great weekend. And as I always say, keep serving the best of masters.